Hello, namaste. This is Tim Haller and I'm an astrologer here in Savannah, Georgia. This is a weekly astrological forecast. I put these videos on YouTube once a week. You can help support future videos by purchasing a reading from me at the link below. Welcome to March 2015. Today is Tuesday the 2nd. And wow, you know, a lot of astrologers get accused for redundantly saying it's a powerful and crazy time, so I'm just not sure what to say. I mean, this is showtime. We are moving forward and there are choices to be made, but let's just say there's not really the time or leisure to kind of procrastinate or put these things off. This is a critical time. This is a time of so much transformation and we are moving forward. The energy is saying go, go, go. And we've got to be careful to be grounded, to be in touch with our real desires, our real intentions, our real direction. We have to know who we really are in times like these. When the energy is spontaneous, it can be brash, it can be all over the place, and there is just so much going on. And the only thing I can really compare these energies to feeling like is like we're about to take our first skydiving experience. You know, it's like we're already in the plane. We've already gone through the training, the preparation. We've paid for the money. And now we're in the plane, in the sky. There's 3 people ahead of us. There's people actively falling out of that doorway. And what's going through our head is, am I sure I want to do this? Do I really want to do this? Is this really what I want to do? Kind of a little late to back out, but I'm sure thinking about these things mighty seriously right now. And what if my parachute opens too early and I get sucked into the propeller? What if it opens too late and, oh, it's my time to go? What am I going to do? I'm not totally sure. Oh, okay. And it's just like you just gotta go forward. We gotta trust ourselves. I mean, there's so much faith that is required of us during these birthing processes. And no one says birth is an easy, fun, simple, painless thing. I mean, irrelevant of what you know, what understanding you have, what doctor you're talking to, what spiritual wisdom, what spiritual one-liner you have in your head. I mean, yes, there is ways to make birthing more gentle and more painless, of course. But is there really a quick, simple, easy fix for times like these when we are birthing a new paradigm, we're birthing a new identity, we are actively, completely transforming, which is a death and a rebirth? Is death and rebirth considered the most easy and fun, natural? Yes. Natural for us as human beings with egos and minds to easily submit to and surrender into and trust? Not necessarily. Yeah, it's so easy to say, yeah, just trust. We all need to surrender. We all need to be humble. We all need to be in tune. But doing it is another thing altogether. And we need to just remember that we are going through a process. And we need to be very gentle and easygoing and nurturing to ourselves as we go through the process. Because our reactions, our emotions, our minds, you know, it could be very easy to be hypersensitive, to overheat, and that can lead to a meltdown. That can lead to a crumbling. That can be led to a being laid low. And we need not beat ourselves up for this. This is part of the process. This is part of the transformation. This is part of the reviewing the past, seeing what we don't want to repeat, and changing that. When all of the energy that's pushing us, go, 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 is going to naturally make us feel like we're just going to automatically do what's been done before. And who can blame us when we're put into highly critical, intense situations where there's very little time, gotta act now, gotta act spontaneously? We automatically tend to go back into what we've already done before. And there is a good chance that we don't want to do that anymore. We don't want to automatically go into the past and do what's always been done. So this is this interesting time of friction and the past kind of butting heads with the future. And who am I? Do I want to go back? Do I want to go forward? Am I who I used to be? Or am I somebody different? And there's so many, you know, chemical reactions, relationship snares, all of these things are just bubbling and fizzling to give us the experiences, to give us the emotional releases, to move through this stuff and take a very significant step forward. Yeah, if we can really be sincere with what's going on and not feel bad, not feel ashamed for this process, and understand this is what I'm doing. I'm a sensitive soul. I'm going through transformation. I'm birthing a new me. I'm birthing a new paradigm. I need to be easy on myself. I need to let myself express what I'm going to express. And I am going to move forward. It's all going to be okay. I don't have to return to how it's been done before. So let's talk some transits, what's going on. The moon was in Cancer over the weekend. That's where a lot of us very sensitive beings out there can really start to be sensing this upcoming wave of anticipation. It's just like, whoa, I'm feeling it, yeah? Then on Sunday, moon moved into Leo. Monday evening, that moon passed by Jupiter. And today, Jupiter is exactly trine to Uranus. Uranus, as we've been talking about for nearly the last 3 years, has been in and out of a square with Pluto. That's been this very radical transformation that's going on collectively. So we've got these 3 major transformative, evolutionary, and expansive forces of the universe working together this week. And they're saying, go, go, go. Jupiter is about to turn direct in Leo. He wants to express. He wants to give himself. He wants to let out all this passion, all this emotion, all of this love. I want to express this love. I want to express my own self, my own character, my own personality in a way that is new, that is different, that is inventive, that is forward pushing, that is healing, that is inspirational to other people. And simultaneously, it's, it's like no matter how much we've practiced, on the day of that opening night, when the curtain is about to raise and we're all in our positions, it still feels a little nerve-wracking, and we can still be a little hesitant. And like, I've wanted this for so long, but oh, I'm a little intimidated by that. That's a little big. That's a little far out. That's a little brand new. Because what we got going on is a lot of Aries energy, a stellium in Aries. And what's going on is Venus is tomorrow going to conjunct Uranus, trine to Jupiter. Next week, Mars is going to conjunct Uranus, trine to Jupiter. All right, and Mars is the ruler of Aries. And Mars this week is conjunct the South Node in Aries. The moon's South Node is this very karmic, having to do with the past, oftentimes having to do with the ruts that we get stuck in for innumerable lifetimes. In this case, it is the rut of the past paradigm, coming out of these rather male-oriented, patriarchal types of society that have been about the power of the individual and the success and the achievement of the lone man. But on Thursday, we have a full moon in Virgo, 1 p.m. Eastern, that is reminding us of this last age, this last cycle, the last paradigm, the Pisces age, the wounds that come out of this old paradigm, the wounds that come out of these old ways, these Martian ways, these masculine ways. Which, by the way, I got to throw out a quick reminder, being a man or being a woman has nothing to do with how masculine or feminine you are. It has nothing to do with masculine or feminine. I have met men that are more sensitive to the moon cycles than other women that I have met. Okay, so it's got nothing to do with gender or sex roles. This is energy that we're talking about. And Mars energy, it's not just war. Men don't just come from Mars and women come from Venus. It's not just war, but it is outward. It is divide and conquer, and I am a pioneer. Mars is, and Aries is the pioneer, the waypaver. Aries is birth. Okay, and we've got this Venus in Aries, conjunct Uranus, trine to Jupiter, and it's square to Pluto at the day of this full moon. All right, so we're doing a very serious look at the past, the present, the future. And a lot of this is happening through relationships. Relationships, I mean, this is another thing I have to constantly throw out reminders of. What are the main purposes of relationships, okay? The number one is obviously to experience one another. That's an eternal truth. Relationships are there for us to experience one another out of love. That way there is that tangible experience of love that is always happening. Here on this planet, in this plane, at this particular time, relationships also serve a function of allowing us to evolve and transform each other, which means that oftentimes we fill different shoes, we fill different roles for each other to emotionally trigger one another, to remind one another of our past, of who we are, of our story. And there can be friction that exists in all relationships, obviously, on this planet. And it is a noble type of friction. When we act out these different roles, even when it gets hot, when it gets tumultuousness, when it turns into a chemical reaction, when, you know, things start to get serious and real. I mean, what we are doing is very serious and real inner work and transformation, yeah? And you know, what are we doing, long story short? What paradigm do we want to move towards? Well, the moon's north node, where we want to be going, where the soul evolutionary path is leading us, is towards Libra, which is harmony, which is balance, which is love, obviously, yes? Libra being ruled by Venus. And this love and this balance means that in relationships we want things to be fair. We want things to be energetically balanced. The masculine energy, the feminine energy, we want to be balanced. And what's probably coming up a lot this week with Mars, the ruler of Aries, conjunct the South Node in Aries, is that we are experiencing all of the things that can be potentially preventing us from moving into an age where there is balance, where there is nurturance. And we don't need to beat ourselves up about this. This is us reviewing our past. This is us reviewing what we don't want anymore. That way we do have a reminder and a passion and a goal to set out and do now the change that we want to be. Now is the time to be the change that we want to be, to do what we want to do, to be the pioneer, to be the change, to be the revolution. And we want to be a love revolution. We want this revolution to be creating greater harmony, greater nurturance, greater empathy and compassion between all human beings, so all is harmonious and balanced. But you know what? We're noticing coming out of this old paradigm that, you know what? That big step into love, into harmony, into balance, it's a little far out. It's new to us, you know? Everybody says, I want love, I want love, I want unconditional love. Do we know what unconditional love is? Unconditional love is far out. It's powerful, it's huge. And what often so happens is when we get close to that thing that we're always after, that unconditional love, that perfect relationship, that perfect harmony, is ironically we start to freak out. We suddenly start to feel like, oh, I'm a little in over my own head. This is profound. I'm going to have to kind of give up on my past, give up on my old ways, all this stuff that I thought was who I am. So what we notice a hell of a lot going on this week and really this whole next month is a lot of fight or flight tendency. Spontaneous running away, spontaneous taking off in a direction. And why is that possible for us to be feeling that? Like, oh my gosh, that's what I have to do. I can't handle this. There's too much going on. I need to run away. I need to take things into my own hands. You all need to go away. You're overstimulating me. You know what? Enough about the balance and the unconditional love. I'm just going to do things my way. Yeah. And this is our repeated experience of the past. Why do we have these fears of unconditional love? It's not our faults. Why is it every single time we get towards that super profound, intimate, loving, harmonious relationship, there's a tendency to freeze up, to withdraw, to back up? Yeah, and this is a very Martian Aries tendency that, whoa, you're cutting out my freedom. I don't know if I'm going to be able to wake up and do my thing all the time when I'm involved with that love thing, you know, going on. And then you don't have to be in a romantic relationship. This is the collective energy happening between all of us. And what this is this is reminding us of the wounds that have taken place in our past loving experiences. Why are these fight or flight tendencies so powerful in us? Why do we want to run away and take off and divide and conquer and just, you know, separate? Or, you know, the other case is, why do we feel like people are always doing that to us? Yeah, this is the other side of the coin, is I feel like I'm always there for everybody else, and then when I need help, everybody takes off running. Why is that? People are afraid of love. People are afraid of intimacy because they have had past experiences where they have been wounded due to their own open-heartedness, their own softness, their own intimacy, their own opening up and being intimate and being exposed, yeah? And so people don't want to expose themselves. People want to be Martian and defensive and this is who I am, I'm not going to change, I'm going to keep doing this forever. This is how it always is. I mean, it's like we can make this into an existential crisis and be just like, why does this always happen to me? This is just how it is. And that can be coming up for review, yeah? And this Virgo full moon, I mean, this can be a very humbling time. The sun's not going to be far from Chiron during the full moon. Moon's not going to be far from Black Moon Lilith in Virgo. And then this weekend, the sun is going to conjunct Chiron in Pisces. We are doing this very deep look at our own wounds of our own identity. This is the wound that has happened to our own person, our own identity. And of course it has to do with love. How else could we be wounded so badly if it didn't have to do with our hearts being wounded? Okay? But not all of us want to feel that. So instead there is this huge defense mechanism here. The solar plexus. The ego identity. The ego identity says, no, I am strong. I'm not going to get taken down. I'm not going to die and be reborn. That's scary. I'm scared. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to like that. And you know, it's part of the processes of us as human beings, as egos, to always be a little bit intimidated from what we fundamentally cannot know and cannot understand. And that's what death is. And that's what this time period is. We don't know what skydiving is like until we take the plunge. We don't know what's at the other end of the wormhole until we go into the wormhole. And yes, this is a time where we do have choices. We still have free will. You can chicken out. You can take the plane back down and not jump out if you decide that you don't want to. And you don't have to. Yeah, and this is really what it's about. We have to be very, very in tune with our authentic desires. What do we really want? Yeah, because we have to keep check. Say if we're doing the fight or flight thing and we find ourselves 100 miles away from our friends and lovers, you know, running away to Hollywood. We'll just make it as stereotypical as possible, yes? We have to be very sincere. Is that really what I want to be doing? Or am I so afraid of not getting what I truly want that I'm making that happen? I'm making it so I can't have what I want because I'm so convinced and so afraid that it's going to happen again. I'm so afraid that if I open my heart to you, it's going to get smashed. I'm so afraid that if I surrender myself to where life is taking me, if I surrender myself to the new, and I let my identity be taken down and reborn again, that it's going to destroy me. I'm afraid that I'm not going to end up where I truly want to be, okay? And just cradle the voice in you that says these things, because that is the voice of our scared inner child and ego. And we must love and respect that part of ourselves, because it's not wrong of us to be feeling this stuff and to feel a little intimidated, you know, to feel a little overstimulated. Okay? We're giving birth. We're dying. It's a part of life. And it's scary. And that's okay. It's exciting too. There is a lot of stuff coming. There's a lot of really forward, moving energy that can take us very far. And so many doors are opening. So many experiences are opening that are just totally radical. So as intimidating and as much as we feel anxious, you know, I try to practice myself when I feel anxious. I say to myself, oh yes, I'm excited. I'm excited because who knows what peekaboo is going to come out at the end of the day. I'm not nervous. I'm not just cringed up. I'm also excited, okay? Because we're feeling a lot of anticipation. And that's okay. That's something we can get into. That's something we can celebrate. That's something that we can totally ride, understanding that this is something we're sharing all together, and let's go forward. Let's go, go, go. Jupiter turning direct in a few weeks wants to go, go, go. Simultaneously, Saturn is slowing down and wants to slow, slow, slow. Is this really who I am? Is this really what I want to do? Is this really my identity? Is this really my direction? All right? And we've got to be, you know, meeting both ends. We don't want to overshoot that we think we know everything and we're just going to head straight in this one direction, and you know, before too long we realize that we're 100 miles away heading to Hollywood. Simultaneously, we don't want to, ooh, I'm too afraid to change, so I'm just going to go back into the rut of the past and be alone and feel forsaken and feel like nobody's there when I need them, or separate myself from everybody else because it's too intimidating to be surrounded by all these people and to be so intimate when I feel like I'm an outsider, or I feel like, I'm sacrificing too much of myself, you know. And you know, what Mars is fundamentally is action. It's what we're doing in the world. All right, and the moon's south node doesn't mean that you stop doing. It means we have to move that Mars, that Aries, into Libra. What are we going to do actively, involvingly, that's going to increase harmony, increase love, increase our intimacy and our relationship with other people? That's what we really want to do. We have to incorporate all this spontaneous, fiery, fight or flight, divide and conquer, war energy. And we have to incorporate that energy with the new. Mars is not bad. That energy that's powerful, that's extroverted, that's making change, doing so much is not bad, as long as we have it in the service of what we actually want, what we authentically want, which is love. We want more intimacy. We want to be relaxed. Yeah, the other thing with this old paradigm, you're all on your own, it's a dog-eat-dog world, you got to fight to survive. You want to create a big statue in your name to prove the rest of the world what a great individual you are, is it's tremendously lonely. And that loneliness feels, you know, it's old. It's not even something, you know, new. This is what we've done before. We've been alone, we've achieved, we've succeeded, we've already built our statues, and so what? How long are we going to keep doing this? It's tremendously unsatisfactory. However, we have learned so much. We've acquired so many skills. We've become such kingly, noble people in our spiritual understanding. So how do we be the true king? Because what the true king is the true king is that powerful, in control energy. But that true king is in service of the people, in service of the collective, in service of love. So how do we take the reins and not be a tyrant? And a lot of us, this brings up stuff. We're afraid to take power. We're afraid to take the reins because we have experiences in the past of powerful, kingly people being tyrants, and powerful people abuse their power. I don't want power because I'm going to abuse it. No, we need to accept the responsibility and the duty of being the kings and queens of this new paradigm, which means that we have to take control. You have to take reins, okay? But how do we do this? How do we be a king without the tyrant? And that's that you listen. You listen to your kingdom. You respect all the people in your castle, all the people that are working for you and serving for you. You don't rule with an iron fist, yeah? But you still take control. You still take power. If other people are constantly manipulating you, so whenever they need help, they come to you, but whenever you need help, they're not there for you, you are not ruling in service of balance and love by letting yourself be constantly manipulated by outside influences. You are only encouraging the disbalance that already exists by continuously saying, oh, well, everybody else is so weak, I need to make up for everybody else, and, you know, I'll support 2 columns instead of 1 because, you know, someone else isn't doing their supportive thing. No, that's not balance, that's not intimacy, that's not relationship. That's a letting yourself be manipulated, get dragged down into feeling lonely, into feeling separate again. So we do need to take reign, we do need to take control, but we have to understand why. It's all in the service of us actively seeking love, balance, serenity, yes? And this is a service. Being a king is a service to the kingdom. It's like this is what's been forgotten during the patriarchal age, when everything got so distorted and so unbalanced. We forgot what it means to be an authentic, powerful, sovereign being. Yes, to be a king is a service. To be a police officer is a service. To be in charge of governments is a service. And all of those people, you know, it's common that they forget that with all that authority and all that stuff. But we need to remember now, and we will be reminded now, what our service is. And that what we want is a form of service. What we want is love and balance, so therefore it is our service to take reign, to take control, and to make it so. That is our service to the collective. It is our service to the collective to be the kings and queens of this new age. Yeah? So it's pretty critical, pretty serious, it's pretty real, but there is so much potential there for us to be reminded of who we really are and be reminded of what we truly want. To be reminded of who our real relationships are. Those are the relationships that are there for us in our times of need. Those are our closest, most personal, intimate, loving relationships, and that's what we want more of. So put the Mars sword in service of the Venus heart. Let us go out, pioneer, waypave, make things the way we want it to be for our highest good, but let it be in the name of love, in the name of selfless service, in the name of creating balance between the masculine and the feminine, which is beauty, which means that so much art and music and Renaissance energy can spontaneously and automatically arise out of this planet, so long as we understand that that's what it's really about and that's what we really want. All right? So hang in there this week. We're going into March, and it's a highly transformative time. I can look at your individual chart to see how all of these transits are affecting you personally, and that's going to give us a better idea of what our personal individual past, our history, our story is, that reveals to us what individual talents and traits we are taking with us into the future that we want to manifest. So, all the best to you and your beloveds. Namaste.